Hi, I'm Ryan from AMBIENT. Making ambient pads or drones that are interesting or can evolve can be a really great way to add depth or color to a track. Making them well is a different story, and it can take it from a really cheesy, new agey, something you hear at like a massage NV, to something worthy of your favorite Brian Eno playlist. Today I wanted to go over a few ways that I make pads and drones and explain how I use them. So really quickly, before I get into the video, I wanted to update you on my first 100 sub challenge because I set the deadline for tomorrow, June 15th. And right now, as I make this, the channel sits at 205. So that's awesome. I'm like blown away. I really appreciate everyone who subscribes and comments. And I also said that I would be doing something fun for the first 100 subscribers. So I made these Amber Elm stickers and we'll send them out to the first 100 subscribers. Also, I made one Amber Elm mug and we'll put the first 100 subs in a hat and draw a winner on June 23rd. If you want a sticker, just comment below or send me a message and I will get those out to you as soon as I can. Okay, on to the video. The two ways I'll be going over making pads today are recording reverb tails and using synths with filters and effects. Recording reverb tails is a really easy and fun way to make a drone or a pad. I like it because your sound source can be almost anything. I'm using Logic and a Big Sky reverb pedal, but what I'm doing can be done in any DAW with stock plugins. I'll use this lap steel sound as my sound source. From here, I'll just play around with the sound and the reverb, and if you want to just hear the effect, turn the mix on your pedal or your plugin to 100%. Fiddle with the knobs and tweak settings until you have something that you like. Side note, you may want to EQ the reverb a little bit to shape the sound further. If you're using a plug-in reverb, it actually makes it really easy to just throw it on a bus and then record that bus on its own track. If you're using a pedal, just record the signal 100% wet. From here, there are a few paths you can go down, and I wrote Robert Frost joke, but I don't know any Robert Frost jokes. I didn't read Robert Frost. You could just record a line that you like and be done with it. You could also record the sound moving up in fifths from C0 and throw them into whatever version of a sampler your DAW has, or just stretch out one sample if you're in a rush, which is what I did. Now you have a playable pad or drone and aren't bound to whatever line that you recorded. And lastly, you could find a few different reverb tails that you like, sample them all, put them in a sampler, and have a more complex and playable pad or drone. The one thing I like about putting them all in a sampler is that now I have a lot of control over how I want the synth to change. I can add an LFO and affect a lot of things like the pitch. So that's one of the things I did on this instrument is I have the LFO really slowly modulating like 20 cents a pitch. So it really does kind of give it that detuned sound, but it modulates over time. I also put in LFO for the cutoff, so that sound can sort of morph over time as well. And that's sort of the same principle as what I'll get into next, which is putting plugins on a track, like Filter Freak. But this way you have a little bit more control over what you have control over, if that makes any sense. And if that all sounds too complicated, let's just scale it back and use, you guessed it, synthesizers. Because again, of course it's synthesizers. It's always synthesizers. Before I go on, if you're getting anything useful out of this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It would mean a lot and help this channel grow into what I think could be a really great community. Okay, so I made a video describing I usually use synths to create ambient pads about a month ago, and you can check it out here. But here's another way of going about it. Once you've decided how you want your pad to behave or sound, record your line into your DAW. Then add filters that move independently of one another. A really great tool for this is Filter Freak by Soundtoys. You can add a few of them to add complexity and to have the synth evolve. And you can do that by just adding effects straight on the track, or what I like to do is bust all of the effects and send the buses to other buses. This gives you more control over the overall sound. This way, say I wanted to add a delay to the synth sound. I can choose to only delay the filtered sound, or the verb sound, or all of it. If you just put all your effects in a series on a track, you sort of limit yourself on how the plugins behave. These are just a couple of the ways that I like to make drones and pads. Like I said in another video, I don't make strictly ambient music, but when I need something drony, these are some of the ways that I like to make them. If you try any of these, feel free to send them to me. I'd love to hear what you guys are coming up with. And if you're a Logic user, I've linked the EXS files for the drone that I made in this video. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.